Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Denver-based tenor saxophonist Keithh Oxman about his latest 2018 CD called Glimpses on Capri Records with the brilliant legendary sax man Dave Liebman. The birth and recording of this record is a great story, and he added a little bit of extra in there. So get to know him and about this album and dig this interview.
It's great to catch back up with you. Just released a new album called Glimpses with Dave Liebman and a great lineup of musicians. Talk to me about this album and what went into it.
It was sort of one of those funny things that happened where I got an email from a past student of mine. He'd graduated from East High a number of years ago, and he said that he met this woman, and I don't know if she was a mentor to him. She was something to him, I'm not sure, but they were talking, and he mentioned that he had gone to East, and he mentioned my name to her, and she unbelievably actually knew my name because she ran a radio show, I think in Boston, and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm familiar, I've played his recordings, and you should have him contact my father. He's a saxophone player, and they might like each other." And the kid told me about it, and I'm thinking to myself, well, everybody's got a dad who plays saxophone, but I don't have time to be doing this. And the kid sent me the information, and I'm looking at it. I said, yeah, maybe I will contact this guy. And so that's kind of how it came to be. It was sort of this serendipitous thing that happened between an old student of mine and Dave's daughter. And so I followed through, and Dave came out late October and stayed into early November, and we did the recording. We played a few things. Man, it was just a great experience of a lifetime. I mean, he's an absolute master.
What did you learn in this process? I mean, it's cool. I mean, I guess it's a small world, but with this nuclei of musicians, what did you learn in this process?
I think that there were a couple of things that were really impressive. Watching Dave in the studio, I mean, he's like a scientist. I mean, it was the first time I was with somebody who, wow, this person really enjoys the process of recording, which is something I don't. I've never liked the process, and I know many other people don't. This guy was working like this was the greatest thing that ever happened. He was into it. He was completely organized. He kind of led that session. I mean, the record's under my name, but I mean, he's the guy that really was focused. We listened to all the takes afterwards. There was not a moment wasted. Everything was just so efficient. It was like just watching this great scientist at work, and I guess that was a learning experience just to watch that and just to see somebody who reveled in this. And I even talked to him later about it, and he said, "Oh yeah," he says, "that's the laboratory where you get things done," and he is into it. And then the other thing that struck me, I don't know if I learned anything necessarily, but I was just amazed that he came out here. He did not bring a tenor. He had a soprano, and he borrowed my other tenor. And he didn't spend any time on the instrument beforehand. He wasn't practicing it. He wasn't trying to get used to it. I mean, it's just from the moment he played it, it sounded like God, I mean, it was just unbelievable. And then when I dropped him off at the hotel at night, I took all the horns, his soprano and tenor, and I found that really, really amazing. I would never be able to do that, just pick up a strange horn, and I couldn't sound like that if I practiced. Anyway, that was, I mean, he's really, truly a master.
What do you want the listener that gets this album to get from this? How do you want them to feel about this experience?
Well, I don't know. That's a great question. I haven't thought that far. I'm sure there's some people that won't like it, and there's some that will. I think whatever it is, it is. I don't know that I have any, I don't know. I don't know that I have any real thoughts on that.
I can tell you from my standpoint as somebody that just got this yesterday, I've been listening to it all day. I thoroughly enjoy this. I think it really shows that there's a group of pros in the room making good jazz, and I think that at the end of the day is probably the aim for what a musician going into the studio is going to try to do.
Oh, well, and it was done very quickly. I mean, it was done in an afternoon. I think it was under 5 hours, so it was done really quickly.
Wow.
And we listened to every take that we did, and there weren't many that were past the first take, on that record. So, and Dave wanted to hear every take after it was done, and that was another thing that I had never seen before, and you know, he wanted to hear it if he thought there was any promise. No, let's check it out. Let's make sure, you know, and then let's move on. You know,
Yeah.
There were a couple that were second takes. So, well, that's great. Thanks. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, of course, you want people to like it, but the reality is not everybody will. But I think we all felt good about it.
And I think you should. Keithh, thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate you talking about glimpses, but I'm looking forward to profiling on Neon Jazz.
Well, thank you so much. It was great talking to you again, Joe. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great talking to you. Take care.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to yet another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Denver, Kansas City, and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks again to Keithh for giving his time to Neon Jazz and for all that great music. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.